What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Schoolboy Roll Up, the wrestling podcast you didn't know you needed. I can't believe this is our fourth episode now. I hope everybody out there that's listening and watching and all that has enjoyed it as much as we have had fun doing it. I would have never imagined being a month in already, but this has been great. Fun doesn't have to stop at the end of this podcast after you listen to it or watch it. Join us on our socials, Instagram, Twitter. Watch us on YouTube, listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, all that crap. LinkedIn, can't forget about that. We're very big on LinkedIn. We have so many connections, it's not even funny.
If you're not on LinkedIn, what are you even doing?
That's where I find most of my podcasts.
It's on LinkedIn.
On any topic, really.
We've been told that we're good at something on LinkedIn. I don't know what, but it's something. Spreadsheets. That's it.
Always spreadsheets.
As always, I'm Rob, and I'm here with Greg and Nick. Fellas, how we doing tonight?
Good. Very excited. Happy to have you-know-who back. So,
God?
Yeah.
God. Like God?
He was definitely pointing at God.
Have you found religious?
I sent my daughter to Catholic school. Yeah, just, you know this was going to turn religious on the third or fourth episode.
It had to. Where else could it have went?
Pivot. Big pivot.
That's a major pivot.
To just capture a certain audience.
Guys, I mean, to be honest with you, I'm a mess right now. As you can see, I've been uprooted from my basement location. My wife's got some friends over right now. I mean, does it get more middle-aged suburb dad than this right now? So we're in the office location right now.
Definitely not. No, you're gonna survive in there.
Jaded, because then someone will come check on him.
That's right. How's he gonna do it?
Are you okay in there?
What's going on in there?
No, nothing here.
Oh man! All right. Well,
style.
There you go. Say you got it in. Cue door opening now. Huh. All right. You want to get into it? Let's get into it.
All right.
So it's a good time of year. It's the road to WrestleMania. We got Big East tournament. I'm watching it on TV right now as we speak. Good stuff. And with that comes an interesting week in wrestling. AEW's coming off a somewhat strong pay-per-view in spots. On Sunday night, we had the Revolution pay-per-view. Don't go to sleep yet, Nick. And on Monday, as Nick alluded to, we had the return of the Island of Relevancy. And of course, he was back to interrupt a fantastic cage match, which did not need interrupting. And of course, when he came back, he was so mad at Seth, he pulled him out of the cage to beat him up, and that leaves Seth to win the match, which obviously allows the feud to be furthered for WrestleMania. What do you guys think about this? What do you think, how it went, how it played out, all that stuff?
Nick, kick it off.
I loved it, of course. The streak of CM Punk having the best matches out of pretty much anybody continues. They just did finisher after finisher, each other's finishers, stuff off the top of the cage. It was never going to end, apparently, the match. And look, Greg called it, with the exception of him breaking the cage with a super punch. Roman, came out to do the thing. And while that was predictable, I think the thing that followed with Paul Heyman comforting, CM Punk in the cage was the intrigue, was that extra step that you didn't think about that made it interesting. Yeah, we want to see this match. I think we're all it's not for a title, but they're laying the groundwork, and it was really well done, and just a banger match. Again, the Netflix main events have been PLE level pretty much since they started.
I mean, there is some discussion right now that I feel like we already know where I stand on this. If this is your first time listening, because you are listener number 23, maybe 24.
I think it's 26, okay?
All right. Get those numbers. Pump those numbers right there. But we know for right now, I am not excited about this being a triple threat match. I feel like heading into Mania, I want to see a quality feud between Roman and Seth, and I want it to blow over, and I want CM Punk going into the main event with Cena and Rhodes. That's what I'm looking for. What I'm starting to hear, as far as some ideas that I'm into, is that you do use this as a number one contenders match, but this isn't like something that we're sitting on. This would be a number one contenders match on night one, and then that winner goes on for night two to be part of another triple threat with Rhodes and Cena. I think that's better, but I would just love Punk to be part of the triple threat with Cena and Rhodes off the bat. And I would like for him to break away from this storyline with Reigns and Rollins, but as we see, that is definitely not happening now.
No, it doesn't look like it's going anywhere. Unfortunately, I think with the year that Punk has had, which, I mean, he's arguably a top guy this year. He's put on fantastic match after fantastic match, not only with Seth, but with Drew McIntyre, who's also just kind of being pushed to the side a little bit. Let's just throw that out there. And I feel like Punker has earned a little bit more. Now, if they go the route you say they go, which maybe, you know, the whispers are out there about night one translating into night two, then I'm okay with it. But I still would like to see a little bit more for Punk, who has been away for a long time, and in my mind deserves that WrestleMania main event spot.
I mean, I think the only thing they need to do is just put it in some kind of enclosed structure again, because Punk cannot get enough of enclosed structures in past baseball. He's like, you know what? Hell in a Cell. I want that. War Games. I'm in this.
Trap match.
Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
He just really likes being close to people.
He loves gimmick matches.
Personal intimacy.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. All right, so obviously Roman returned, which was pretty awesome. I mean, the crowd was freaking hot. MSG was bumping for Roman jumping out. You could hear the crowd when they noticed that Roman was there and he wasn't on camera yet. And the crowd was just going berserk in the background once they saw him, which was pretty sick. So it kind of leads me into, in my mind, Roman is still the quarterback of this company. And you got Cody up there calling himself the quarterback of this company. I don't see it. Roman is still the guy. Do you guys agree or do you not agree?
I don't agree with that. I think
really
it feels like it's shifted at this time. I mean, is Roman over? Absolutely, as well as he should be. But I think right now it feels like Cody is the face. He's everywhere. He's on everything. He's on College Game Day. He represents this company. He's the new Cena. He's the more family friendly. I think we're breaking away from the PG era, but I think he's still your like classic baby face for right now. And it seemed like he was starting to get away from that, but I think he's now our guy.
Yeah, him telling The Rock to F off meant so much. It got me so excited for the Super Friends to rally around him. He's going to need help to get past whatever they wind up putting in front of him. So I hope that they kind of throw the kitchen sink and overbook the hell out of the main event again and get as many people in there as possible.
And Nick and Rob, to your points, I think what we're looking at right now feels very similar to a Stone Cold Rock situation, where even when they're not together, Cody and Roman at this point are just intertwined. You're going to see them in a main event against each other again at some point, whether that's next year or 2 years down the road. They will square off again. I don't think there's any doubt that there needs to be a third match at Mania between those two. So I think it's very The Rock Stone Cold as far as like, all right, here's Captain 1, here's Captain 2. Meaning that's what you would call co-captains.
Oh, co-captains.
Yes.
Wow.
Just like two of our good friends at Steak Night who were co-captains of They shall remain nameless.
They shall remain nameless.
Yeah, to get Roman out of the traditional bloodline storyline, he kind of has to take a little bit of a step back. Because when he's in that storyline, that is what the show is about.
Okay.
So
100%.
So I think that's put them more on an even level for them to be able to transition out of that, I 4-year-long story.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's
even
time
longer?
for Roman to take somewhat of a step back. He's been at the top of the card, and he'll continue to be at the top of the card. But as far as pecking order goes, he was that guy for about 4+ years, and I think now we need to not necessarily that he's gone, but he needs to take a step down so that Cody could be elevated that much more.
Seems about right. I'm curious. Obviously, after WrestleMania, everything changes. But I'm curious to see where Roman goes after this Seth feud. Will he be gone again for a while? The Seth thing seemed like a natural progression based on what happened last year at WrestleMania. I'm wondering what happens this year. I don't know, just something to ponder.
I mean, I think
Seth can't join The Rock if Roman and The Rock are still aligned. So there's some confusion and ways they can play with that. That could push him even more face if somehow Seth joined up with Rock and Cena, and for whatever reason sick. Roman was on the outs there. That would be really interesting. And
that would be.
And he'd be full babyface if he's kind of not already with the way everyone reacts to him.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think we are looking at Roman kind of being part of that like Avenger group, if you will, and taking on at some point the story comes back around to, while it's focused on Cody and Cena for now, it's going to turn into Rock's on the one side, Roman's on the other side. They absolutely have to go on at it. I mean, I really think that's going to be The Rock's last match whenever it is that he fights Roman. It's just a matter of when that happens.
Here's my question to you real quick. It doesn't have to be real quick. So we know that's going to be Rock. We know that's going to be Rock's last match. Is that going to also be his next match?
No.
Okay.
I think you're looking at Rock versus Cody and Rock and Reigns. I think those are your only guaranteed matches.
It's probably correct. I would think so. In keeping with that, we'll stay on topic with The Rock here. A little personal beef that I have is that we came off this huge turn a couple weeks ago now.
About 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. And Cena and Rock still haven't been on TV. Now, I know Cena's announced for this Friday on SmackDown. Right? Or was it Raw?
I think it's just going to be on Raw.
It's just going to be Raw.
Okay. Getting on Raw.
Yeah.
So, and that, that's great. But I don't know. Like, I just wish that they capitalized on that instead of letting it. And I know the schedules are, these guys are filming movies and stuff. But man, that kills me. Does it bother you guys? Does it not bother you? What?
Initially, I thought no, but when you're saying all this, I'm like, I'd lost momentum. You had Cody up there by himself, with nobody to rebuke him, and he gets to stand tall and say whatever he wants. Instead of when he just got annihilated, on Saturday. But I don't know. They've earned the right to let it marinate for 2 weeks. Like it's gonna hit. I think they just needed with the extra time. I think they get to think about how they want Cena to present whatever he's doing next a little more.
I don't think it needed to be coming right off the Elimination Chamber PLE. I don't think Cena or Rock needed to show their face at Raw or SmackDown of that week. MSG being a huge show, to me, that seemed like a no-brainer to have Cena come out there. They didn't do it. And the way I look at this is I am fine with a slow build. In many ways, while it's not the same, I think we can look at kind of the idea of when Kane finally unmasked in like summer '03. I was very curious, and once again, I know that pales in comparison, but like that was a big deal to me, was what is this new Kane going to be like? And you would only get just these small kind of like, oh, he's doing this week. Like, oh, this week he's tombstoning Linda McMahon. Oh, this week he's attaching a car battery and jumper cable to Shane McMahon's, what? So,
hey, I heard the car was dead.
Little. And I think what I'd love to see, I don't as much as I want to see a ton from Cena, I would be absolutely fine if he came out and just gave like a small teaser or something. I don't even need too much right now. Maybe you're just showing the new look. Like, are you actually going to shave your hair completely? What's the music you're coming out to? I don't need everything. I don't need the 15-minute Cena promo right now.
If he makes those kinds of changes to his presentation, that's a bombshell. And that could be the whole, he could just come out
Yes.
being pissed off for a small amount of time, and I would be satisfied.
I was going to
and
say,
ready for the next thing.
I could see this being one of those, I'm coming out, you get a look at me. I'm not giving you a ton as far as on the mic, and I'm probably going to hit, the AA on somebody, and that's a wrap. Like, you're getting me pretty much for the last 5 minutes of the show, and you're not going to be fulfilled. You're just getting a small taste.
Now
That makes him more heel. The less he's around, the more he's a heel. So
for sure, you're right, and I'm okay with that. Now he can't, right? He can't dress up in his old heel gear, right? Like, he needs some new, fresh heel gear.
Look, that's too much fan service. He can't, as a bad guy, he can't do something that fun.
No.
No, I don't think what we're going to be seeing, and I could be wrong, I think this is going to be a totally new look. I don't think, to Nick's point, that he could be leaning into any sort of fan service or nostalgia. A lot of people are like, oh, he's going to come out to his old song Bad Man from 2005. And I'm like, that doesn't make sense.
If he does anything like that, people are going to cheer, and they want the heat. We want the heat.
We want the smoke.
For it to be real, he's got to be a totally different dude.
I don't see him going backwards. I think his new theme is going to be incredibly hard, but I don't think it's going to be anything with him like we've seen before.
He's going to come out with Travis Scott on his shoulders.
Wait, is he on Travis Scott's shoulders? Or
that would be better.
Yeah, that would be even better,
like,
right?
Yes, this man can smack.
Just rubbing sage all over each other.
Just destroying eardrums.
To your guys' point about Cena, to make this work, he needs legitimate, and I mean legitimate, heat. Like, there cannot be people cheering him. Like,
yes, if you were at the show tomorrow, what would you do when he came out? I'd be so happy.
But that's same. But that's why he needs to do something. And I've mentioned this to Greg before, and it's never going to happen. But like, he needs to cause Jey Uso to lose the championship at WrestleMania or something. Like, something that's going to really make people mad. And I don't know what that is. I'm trying to figure that out still. But I don't know how he gets the heat that he needs so that people aren't cheering him.
I mean, that is the issue you run into. Like, it's when Austin turned heel after that WrestleMania 17. It was a great story, and no one wanted to boo Austin. And then he's still getting cheered, so they're like, okay, we'll throw him in the alliance now. Still getting cheered.
Yeah.
You're looking at that run, he is pretty much turned bad early April, and by end of November, he was already a good guy again. So, I mean, I can't say that was a successful heel turn. I think that's always the issue you run into, is it's not the 1980s anymore. People like Edge on these characters.
Mm-hmm. Maybe
Which,
Cena
speaking of Edge, reminds me of AEW. No, okay, we're not going into that yet, Nick.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Nick's got his blanket ready.
Could happen.
Maybe Cena should use Stone Cold's Disturbed intro.
Stop that. I love that song.
I know you do.
Sometimes I'll just listen to it on the way home, going like
90.
No, I would never. I'm very responsible. I take it up to like 57 and a 55.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, crazy.
You're really
to the middle lane.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's that's legit right there. Someone else who has moved to the middle lane, who we saw on Raw, was Io Sky, who happened to just be standing in the middle of this Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley shouting match, whatever, being totally dismissed by the two of them after a couple pushes and a couple whatever's, Io decided to just start slapping people. Do you guys like where this is going? I think it's pretty cool that there's a triple threat that has multiple time champions. They're all multiple time champions. That's pretty cool. What do you guys think of where this is headed?
Perfect. It's perfect in a sense that they presented it. You weren't sure about it because RoboCop was coming in there against,
It's always
Godzilla,
RoboCop.
King Kong, but they managed to pull it off. She's in there cutting her promo, and they just come in there. They're mad at each other, and they went out of their way to push her.
Yeah.
To be like, you don't matter, and she's beaten both of them for for different titles in the past 12 months. So,
I mean, Io is definitely deserving of being in that match. You already know where I stand. She's not your Godzilla. She's not your King Kong. I would love to see the face-off because you could see the natural rivalry between Bianca and Rhea. But I already like the way they're going with it because I think they're leaning into that, is that Io, just like I'm saying, is the afterthought. And Io's like, you know what? I shouldn't be the afterthought. I've knocked both of you off before. My 2 wins came from pinning each of you, So I think we're looking at a great match. But for me personally, I would still rather see the face-off between Bianca and Rhea. But I guess we also run into the issue of now Rhea's being a little bit more edgy as well. So they both have some, like, I'm not going to say heel vibes, but I think the feeling is that they could both be coming out of Mania with new characters, if you will. Whereas I think Io is your clear baby face going into this match.
Do you see Bianca being full-blown heel before that match at WrestleMania?
No.
Okay.
Nah, because they got to let that marinate. I mean, I know part of the reason that's been as slow as it's been is because Jade was injured, but they got to just let this play out before they change anything with her. There's no reason to rush any of that.
You got to follow the dominoes. Jade and Naomi need to finish up in order for Bianca to eventually reveal herself as the true heel behind that. So until they clear up the Jade situation and she gets her, revenge against the best sparkling neck brace I've ever seen.
Oh, that shit sparkled.
What was that?
I said that shit sparkled.
That did. But
couldn't that match be?
We gotta get through chapter 1,
right? Like, is that a WrestleMania squash match? Jade comes out, gets a nice entrance, just squashes her, and so she gets to have a WrestleMania moment, and we move on.
Oh yeah, this is Kofi and Brock on night 1 of SmackDown on Fox. This could be over in about a minute, and it's just nonstop offense from my girl Jade Cargill.
You love Jade. I think you are Jade's biggest fan right now.
Big Jade fan.
Yeah, she's been awesome. I mean, what is there to not like? To be honest, she's been great.
Right. She's just wonderful.
Yeah. She's wonderful.
She's a great person in and out.
She is. Yes.
She's been doing a lot of research.
Yes. She's
running a fan page.
Yeah. I think I would like to swerve a little bit so that Nick can go to sleep now.
No, I mean, we'll see.
Okay. So AEW is coming off probably one of their best pay-per-views in quite a while, or premium live events, whatever the hell we're calling it these days. I don't even know anymore. Now I'm not going to go through the whole card here because, quite frankly, I don't know how many people care.
Whole card.
But there was some good matches. The Hangman MJF match was pretty good. Hangman winning. The timeless Toni Storm versus Mariah May match had some amazing YouTube clips to it, which was all I saw of it, but was pretty blown away by it. You had Will Ospreay defeating Kyle Fletcher.
5 stars.
5 stars. Dave Meltzer said so. 5 stars in his sleep. with the Spanish fly off the top of the cage, which I don't know if you saw it, but that was really cool.
I mean, I don't even know how you could sleep through that one. It was amazing.
I did see that. I did watch that clip.
Oh, you had him for a second. I think he was talking sleep right there.
And then, of course, in AEW's infinite wisdom, they had to end the whole pay-per-view.
Hey. Don't forget Swerve. Don't forget Ricochet.
I don't know. Okay. I didn't forget them. You remembered them for me.
I remembered.
You had to have Moxley defeating Edge with Christian cashing in his chip to be in that match, which just was by far most people thought was just a terrible way to end the pay-per-view. I could tell Nick saw some of it. He's talking in his sleep about it.
You caught us a mark.
Greg, what was like some of your big takeaways from that?
Big takeaways. I think that's absolutely what AEW needed. They needed a little bit of like a shot to get them going again. And I think putting on a show with multiple 5-star matches, that's an excellent thing for them. And filling up an arena like Crypto Arena in LA. I mean, they were able to show the full arena.
Yeah.
That's great for them.
Yeah.
So I think that gives them some momentum. Not enough right now, but I don't think we're looking at them being the number one program. They're just there to be the alternative. And if you want to see great wrestling, you've got to see great wrestling. The issue we run into, to your point, is you had a main event that's a little bit of a dud. And I don't think that's necessarily falls as much on those wrestlers are there as much as the fact that the Death Rider storyline is just absolute trash right now.
Oh, man, it's so bad.
I think that's the issue. Like we talk about like them getting a much needed shot. They need the shot because the Death Rider storyline seems just so convoluted, confusing, and just with no real direction to it. If there is direction, I think they're doing a good job of fooling everybody at this time.
Yeah.
And I like all three of those wrestlers. I like Moxley. I like Adam Copeland, and Christian's amazing. But I just don't think they knew how to book this the proper way.
Yeah, I don't think they had a clue, to be honest. Part of me, like, knowing when Edge went back to AEW, like, I was pretty bummed about it because I wanted to keep watching him in WWE. But I was excited to kind of see where him and Christian would go with things. And I know Edge has been hurt, but I am a little bummed that, like, it's taken this long into...
Yeah, he's sleeping.
Yeah, I think he legitimately is.
MJF has a great jam.
Yeah. I wish I could see more of just Edge and Christian, but that's just me. Like, I feel like Moxley in there, who is such a solid wrestler, but he's like a main eventer in AEW, which I don't think he really is. And this Death Riders storyline proves it. Like, it's just going nowhere.
I've liked Moxley's run in AEW up to this point, and I think when I say up to this point, up until the whole Death Riders storyline, but I mean he's done great work over the years. I could see what you're saying about the main event, but he seemed pretty deserving to me.
He is good. I just feel like he's in reality, he's like at that Sami Zayn level where he can be a main eventer, but he's not always a main eventer. And I feel like he's just pigeonholed into this spot in AEW that is kind of like killing their main event scene. But that's just my opinion. I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair. You're entitled to that opinion.
And Nick, we won't bore Nick too much anymore. Unless he wants to add anything to it.
That's a 5-star nap right there.
Oh, there you go. Was that from Meltzer himself?
Yeah, he grades my naps. He grades me up and DMs me.
That's what he's been known to do that. All right, switching gears again a little bit.
Okay.
The WWE undercard right now, it seems pretty hot. I feel like on the men's and women's side, we've got a lot of people who are putting in some really good work. what do you guys think about that? Who's catching your eye? Who could maybe this time next year be talking about main eventing? I mean, maybe not main eventing WrestleMania, but in a more prominent storyline.
Women's side, I'm saying it's all NXT. If you go back to the Rumble, they did like an NXT main roster face-off, and it was hot, and it looked, and you're like, all of the people in NXT are already kind of good enough to be in the main roster. So for me, it's Julia from there. I feel like they could fit her in pretty good up on the main roster, and we're gonna get this, great work from Roxanne throughout the year too. So I feel like the women's is like pretty stacked. And on the men's side, I'm just looking at Ludwig, who's right. He's like right here. He's just got to get in the right thing where they'll put a title on him, because it's been nice that he's been able to solidify himself.
Oh, he's great.
Somebody who could work with top guys when, here and there, just not getting those matches, that are putting him to the next level just yet.
He's an excellent true heel, but I'm going to go with, for right now, I mean, obviously they're gradually pushing him up. Braun Breaker, I mean, the guy can go in the ring. He's got great speed, great strength. He's got a crazy MJF tan as well. But I think he's excellent. And he'll definitely be featured more prominently next year for Mania and for Manias following that. I mean, he's a future face of the company. And someone who I don't think will ever be face of the company, but just makes so much of his limited time anytime he's out there. Go with Otis from Alpha Academy. I mean,
he's always good
out there. That guy, he's got the fans behind him. And I mean, he's not even necessarily your mid card. He's your low card right there. I mean, him and Tozawa and like Maxine, I think it's amazing that they're so over still.
Right. Even without Chad Gable, without being involved in anything, really, they're just a sideshow almost. But whenever he kind of gets something going, everybody gets really excited.
Absolutely.
It's a great point.
Alpha Academy's been great. And to your point, Otis and Maxine and Tozawa, they've been awesome. And I think a lot of that has to do with how well that Chad Gable steers that ship. He's been out for a while doing cruiserweight, not luchador training, right? Yeah. And he came back this week and had the mask on and interrupted the match, which I think was awesome. He's always underrated to me. And I would love to see him get a slight push at some point. Maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't. But also Chelsea Green. Gotta love Chelsea Green.
Chelsea Green and the whole entourage is
amazing.
Piper as the Secret Service, love it.
They're so good.
Hysterical.
And talk about people.
Scottish Secret Service agents. With a Canadian holding the U.S.
I wonder
title.
what that's called. They need to call
great.
Themselves whatever that is, like the M16 or whatever that.
Yeah, we need an official stable name for them.
For sure. But she maximizes every minute that she is on TV, so I give her credit for that. Ludwig Kaiser, when he eventually wins a title, it's got to be the U.S. title, right?
Yeah, because of course, yeah.
To really get the heat, right?
Yes.
So yeah, they could flip him over to SmackDown and after Mania or whatever, if that's when they're doing that
draft or whatever
BS trade window thing. I think they're done with the draft. I think they know everybody hates the draft.
It's so dumb.
One other person that I want to bring up in this conversation who I can't imagine him not being a wrestler is Karrion Kross. Like, this guy is a wrestler. Like,
what else would he be doing?
His character work is great. It just doesn't go anywhere, So I wonder what, I see him always having a place in the company, but he's not even really on TV wrestling these days.
No. And
he's just lucky that Vince isn't there to put him in that ridiculous costume that Vince put him in. Remember with
his gladiator getup?
Like the helmet and everything. Like that, he looked absolutely ridiculous. And that's when he came up from NXT. Like, he was as hot as could be coming up, and he was just completely neutered with that horrific costume. Like, it was so bad. And he always looks like $1 million. Because he's got what's her face coming out with the Scarlett is always coming out with them, and she's smoking. So I wish there was something more for him. Right?
I mean, they tried to build a whole faction around him, and they had a name, and they had all these people, and nothing. what he's doing
AOP's
now,
gone.
he's kind of getting in everything, and he's making his hair look like all the people he's messing with. If you've seen that,
I didn't pick up on that, Nick. That's pretty good.
When he goes to Sami Zayn, he had like the little
That's
bun,
pretty
and then
good.
when he's talking to AJ Styles, he had the soccer mom cut.
I like that.
It's like very subtle, like
good pickup.
Him just being like super subversive or whatever. It's great. I love the detail.
Fantastic. Anybody else you guys are seeing or no?
No, you can only push so many people,
Yeah,
you know?
of course.
And those are the ones that are on the edge. And to even say Braun is in that conversation is only because they can book him like Brock level strong.
Mm-hmm.
And it's somewhat believable. So like he can go his ceiling is limitless.
It really is.
So there's no limit on the ceiling.
No. Yeah, it's a limitless ceiling, which means that there's not a ceiling.
So the ceiling doesn't exist.
The ceiling is
It's
the roof.
a non-existent limitless ceiling.
It's like you're in space.
He's an astronaut.
It's expanding.
And never stopping. All right. So,
Okay.
all right. So last week we opened it up to everybody to say, hey, you want to talk to us? We're three pretty cool guys. Like we're easy to talk to.
Oh, don't say that. That's no one who's cool says we're pretty cool. Like,
yeah, but
you just tanked ourselves.
Nah, come on.
I
You
get
are.
ruined. Make sure you edit
We're so
that
cool.
out.
You guys are cool.
Oh,
I'm not.
thank you. Okay,
Right,
I'll
right.
take it.
You don't have to tell us.
So we did get at least one audience question, and they sent it to schoolboyrollup@gmail.com, which is where anybody here should direct their questions.
Oh, you mean if someone has questions, they just go to schoolboyrollup@gmail.com.
And you send it to us, and we read it, and we're like, wow, I think we should talk about this on the show. So here we go. We got a question from somebody named Guzzler. And I don't know this guy. Do you know this guy?
Is that how we pronounce it?
I think that's how we pronounce it.
Is that like that guy who Badlands chugs, drinks stuff really fast?
Yes.
It probably is him.
That's probably who it is.
Yeah.
And so he wanted to know from us. He says, who is your favorite celebrity wrestler / appearance of all time? I could tell you mine right off the bat.
Please.
It's the Pete Rose run-ins at WrestleMania and just getting straight up tombstoned by Kane however many years in a row.
I was going to say, I think that they did that for like 3 years.
Yeah. And he came out in like the chicken suit and like, it was good stuff. What do you guys have a favorite?
I do. I'm going to go with, fresh off my vacation last month, I got to go with Bad Bunny and his main event street fight against Damian Priest 2 years ago in Puerto Rico. I mean, that entrance, that dude was
awesome.
over.
Oh.
And that match was so crazy as far as the booking goes. So enjoyable. Love it.
Yeah, some more recent stuff does come to mind because they feel like they put more effort into it, into just like celebrities show up and it's shocking. So I think I want to say Johnny Knoxville just because of the amount of thought that went into that match and how kind of ridiculous it was, and they still kind of pulled it off. But for Impact, I'm going to go with the Jon Stewart thing that made no sense.
Oh
where
my
he
God. Wow.
SummerSlam, because like that's why Cena doesn't have 17. It's because of Jon Stewart.
Jon Stewart, you're right. Wow. And we've been sitting on that for how many years now?
Yeah, I wonder if he comes back.
He might.
Honorable mention, Macaulay Culkin just being an audience member. Like,
that was as
this
good as it
dude
gets.
is so over.
Yeah, dude. He should have the hardcore celebrity title.
He really should.
He needs to come out and hit a move on Travis Scott. That would make my day.
I was really hoping one of you guys was going to say Travis Scott 3 weeks ago. That's just
yeah.
Can't use him yet.
No.
Can't even use that in jest right now.
If he does something bad again, immediately number one.
Ooh, yes. And he's going to, because there's just no way he's not going to.
I mean, I just
really gets into waving that thing around. Like,
Yeah,
don't think he gets enough attention when he was just pushing
Yeah.
up to me.
it was so bad.
He was like, this is not what you're supposed to be doing. And he's just pushing it back down.
He was so bad. My favorite part of that whole thing, though, is like he's doing that sage thing, and Cena is looking at him like he's like, "What the hell is this guy doing here?" And he just starts cracking up because it was
really. I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
he broke character. Yeah,
he just started laughing at him because it was so ridiculous. And another thing, the Kieran Culkin was at what? Was it Survivor Series? He was at something recently, or the next day. Royal Rumble, he was at one of the events because he talked to CM Punk. And when CM Punk came out for his intro and they showed Kieran Culkin there, and he was talking to him and said, like, I won an award last night too. So the Culkins are big WWE fans, apparently.
Thanks, Rob.
Who would have known? Who would have known?
You from the reaction he got at the Raw Netflix, dude, where they showed 15 celebrities and they popped for Macaulay Culkin that outweighed all of them.
Yeah,
that's when you knew.
That's when you definitely knew.
Guy hasn't made a movie in forever. Like,
they need to keep doing this almost like on like that like Pete Rose running bit where like Macaulay Culkin just keeps showing up, because I mean he did it again this past week in Madison Square Garden. Just keep having him come out every so often.
Yeah,
it's great.
And get the huge pop like Mankind used to get here in Long Island. All right. So I think we should try something new in this episode, because that's what we're here for, right? To try things new.
Try things out.
We want to try things out.
New.
Trying things new. Whatever.
Do a new thing.
Like get that limitless roof.
The ceiling is the roof.
Yeah.
Like Michael Jordan said. So I want to introduce to you the newest and the only schoolboy roll-up segment. It's called Fast Out.
Okay.
And I want to open this up to both of you. If you want, you don't have to. If you have something that you want to just get off your chest about wrestling, something, I'll give you a little bit of time. You delve into whatever topic it is that you want to talk about, and we'll just sit here and listen to you and pretend like we're paying attention.
Does it have to be wrestling related?
It does not. That's a good question. I don't think we need to the ceiling is the roof, right? We don't need to limit ourselves. So Let's open it up to whatever you want it to be.
Because, I mean, when's Crystal Pepsi coming back?
Crystal clear Pepsi.
Yeah.
Get it back.
Like, I don't think I've seen it since summer 2016. They brought it back. I was like, oh, this is fun. Then, COVID happens, and I haven't seen it since. So,
right. Kill it.
I think that I want answers. That's what I'm worried about these days. But as far as, I guess, wrestling related things, what I'm thinking for right now, Penta. Where is this guy? WWE, you made me to love him. I didn't realize that I was going to be such a fan of. I didn't know. But you made it happen. And now you've ripped him away from me. I can't deal. Find some room for this guy. He's so good. Make the time. Get him something great going into Mania. Maybe bring in his bro, Ray Phoenix. Let's have something happen here.
They wanted to get a singles push, though, before he would get a thing with like back in a tag team thing?
I don't know. I just want him on my TV.
Yeah.
All I want.
Perfect.
His sick entrance and all that.
I need to be able to consume more Penta. Maybe do some Penta walk. Just keep doing this all day.
He's not letting you forget about the...
Never.
No, it's like, I feel in many ways, his fear is our ceiling.
Wow. That's deep, man.
Yeah.
That is really deep.
When it comes down to it, these things don't exist.
The fear or the ceiling for
And
those who
ceiling.
can't follow. Yeah.
Wow. Or
I think
Penta,
next
because we
week-
haven't seen him.
No, I think that's what we need to do. We need to take our recordings outside. We can't be obstructed by these roofs and ceilings anymore.
Right. You don't say the car's topless. You say the titties is out.
Yeah, that's right. Come on. Oh, man. That's great. That's really great. I love that. Okay, so we need to see more Penta. Nick, anything? You don't have to have something.
No,
okay.
I don't want to
Okay.
steal yours either.
Well,
Unless-
mine's gonna be super quick. I've heard rumblings that Lex Luger wants Sting and DDP to him into the Hall of Fame, and I'm hoping that somehow Sting will be allowed to do this because I would love to see it. Sting was always my favorite.
I love that introduction you're talking about. But are we talking about Lex Luger, the producer who did "Hard in the Paint"?
Yes,
Because that is a great song.
he. Yes,
Flocka.
we go flocka flame, right? Yeah. So that's all I'm thinking about. Wow, that sounded just like it.
I mean, thank you.
Um, I think that's kind of all we got this week. We're going to be coming back next week, but before we go, I would like to just say that, like we said earlier, Cena's going to be coming back, and he will be addressing everybody. Is there anything that you specifically want to see from this week when he comes back? I know we mentioned like maybe not a lot. Is there something that he has to do?
I think if we get the new look on him,
Okay.
that would be the biggest impact. That would be
Okay.
like, and to follow on the actual turn and the amount of buzz that generated. This guy needs to show up, just something crazy. Like I didn't think that was what I cared about, but to really sell this, he's got to have a new look, and it would go crazy.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Greg, anything for you or no?
Similar thing as before. As much as I would love to get a lot, if you're trying to lean into this heel character, I don't think you should give too much right now. So,
Yeah. Okay.
so not that I want to see it, but I think it's necessary if you're trying to move in that direction.
Right. All right. Well, this has been fun. I think next week, where we'll be starting. It's talking about Cena's return and what he did and how he did it. And if he said anything, what we'll see. But I hope everybody liked this episode. I hope you guys had fun.
Rob, before we go, real quick,
What?
Nick, it's been about 2 weeks. Can you just send us out with one quick Simone gyration?
Oh,
I don't think I can. I mean, it's just that the screen is glitching. I'm not even doing it right now.
It's what are you doing?
Thanks,
Nothing.
Nick.
I'm sitting completely still.
All right.
It was good.
All right. No ceilings, people.
The ceiling is the roof. We'll see you next week.
All right. Bye, everybody.